Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. This is the biggest issue facing us is when you think about that time period, our biggest threats then, of course, were foreign. But this, I keep saying what the Republicans have done and Trump has done. This is Al Qaeda's dream that we'll destroy ourselves from within. That the next attack on our capital came from within. Our biggest threat, as you know, is, white supremacist right wing terrorism here in the United States, which is why it's so critical, right, to see justice all the way up for January 6th, right?
You're absolutely correct. Look, I've written 10 books. 5 of them were about Al Qaeda and foreign terrorists, and the last 5 or 4 plus forwarding is about right wing extremism and an attempt to overthrow the government of the United States, starting with Russia's help in the 2016 election, then Russia's plan to do this worldwide by funding the global right wing extremists around the world, and then it took off with Donald Trump, and now we are destroying ourselves. Yeah. And that's exactly what is happening. The Russians don't have to do anything anymore. The right wing has co-opted themselves and now work in Russia's interest. American democracy, the American experiment, as it was invented and as it existed until 2016, they don't want that anymore. They don't. They want Donald Trump as dictator. And I wrote that in several books. We had one, The Plot to Betray America, in which he embraced that. And now we have nutty Michael Flynn out there spewing Russian talking points, an entire caucus in Congress that would sell America out to Vladimir Putin. And then we have a lazy class of American news media that it took them 3 years to come to use the words insurgency and insurrection and to say, oh my God, this is a threat to American democracy. I'd already written 2 books about that. It's time to start paying attention to that. And you know what? All of you have a mission. You have to create that meta narrative I keep talking about. You have to share with people that you know. What do they say? America girl, you in danger.
You in danger, girl. Malcolm, did you ever think, I was just, because we all thought of where we were on 9/11, of course, when, we hit an anniversary. I mean, did you ever think when you watched our, Pentagon being attacked and, obviously the plane that was headed to the Capitol, I mean, did you ever think 20 years later you'd be watching Americans attack our own Capitol?
No, not at all. And you guys know, I was an eyewitness to the 9/11 attacks. I was outside, I was literally across from the Pentagon when I saw the airplane crash into it. And I was a rescuer there, first responder, all day.
Yeah.
And I understood those attacks. I understood the asymmetric nature of our enemy using our own strengths and working, what we call walking between the raindrops in order to carry out the impossible. Donald Trump saw that too. He saw an entire class of Americans that he could mobilize to overthrow democracy. For the first time in American history, that we had a president of the United States who saw American democracy as something to be destroyed and replaced by this cult-like tribal adoration of extremists. Over 1,000 people have been convicted, over 600 years of prison sentences have been handed out, and it's not enough. It's not enough.
Here's my question. Do we ever get back to a place of being the United States of America? As Barack Obama said, we're not blue states and red states. We were talking about, a lot of people wrote beautiful pieces about what it was like in New York. I lived there right after 9/11 and how there was just a shared humanity. And you looked at people and talked to them and cried with them like, we never did before. But I feel like it started then when the Bush administration lied us into war, obviously for 9/11, then we attacked the wrong country. I feel like you're right. Donald Trump took advantage of sort of an erosion, I think, of trust in government. And I just don't know how we ever get back. Do you?
Well, I believe the first Time magazine that ever depicted him had the president of the divided states of America. And the division is not because of something that's actually occurred. It's not January 6th. The division is because Donald Trump has pushed the entirety of his supporting base, what I call Titus, right? The Trump insurgency in the U.S., into an alternate reality. They no longer see America through the prism of any measure of reality.
Yeah.
It is an imagination. It is a figment in their head in which Donald Trump is slim and slender and like Rambo, right? And that we are enemies to be destroyed. And that, I get a lot of death threats from these people. I was on Joe Madison's program the other day on Sirius XM, and someone called in, right, to use the N-word against me and was angry that his assistant wouldn't let him come on and say that. That is a person who doesn't live in the same space that the real normal people of America live. They feel entitled. They feel they own America and that America is their property, and that every other person who is not a white Trump-supporting man, should just give in and be subjugated by them. This is where we have to stand up and say, we are the people. And you know what? They've almost co-opted that term too.
Well, you know, and here we are. You retweeted someone that said McCarthy's impeachment inquiry hasn't swayed the Freedom Caucus toward funding the government. Watch as the House GOP is going to implode in front of all the country while trying to take Americans down with them. I've said this for a long time. In some cases, they're actual terrorists, January 6th, insurrectionists. So they frequently are economic terrorists threatening to take, the entire full faith and credit of the United States hostage. But here we are, Joe Biden being impeached over nothing.
Yeah. Jeffy, they're not talking to the nation. They're talking to the crazy 35.
Yeah.
Right? That 35% that wants to destroy the American government, that wants to come in and monkey wrench the entire. They don't. The funny thing is, they don't care that other people's Social Security checks won't go out, but they want theirs. And when they don't get it, they go, "Oh, with their right to destroy the government."
Yeah.
This is I don't want to use the T word, right? These are insurrectionists writ large.
Yep.
They intend to take America through major phases of chaos and, and insurgency. And this is why we all have to understand. There was an article by David Ignatius telling Joe Biden.
We already mentioned it.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sure you guys discussed it.
Yeah.
And then insulting Kamala Harris like, well, why she doesn't do anything? Why should we step up with her?
Oh my God.
Stop listening to these idiots.
Yeah.
They will destroy this country. I don't need an 80-year-old white guy to come and tell me that Joe Biden isn't doing his job or that Kamala Harris can't be president of the United States.
This is what our thesis is this morning. Old people are dumb. And I speak as an old person. We were saying that Victor Shi, right, who tweets about, the numbers for young people, support for Biden and for Harris are through the roof, so
look,
the kids are all right.
If I was Joe Biden, I would quickly retire and say, I'd like to introduce you to the 47th president of the United States, Kamala Harris, first woman president, and then Donald Trump's hats would all be out of number.
I don't think you've probably been keeping up, but she had a hip-hop barbecue, therefore she is disqualified, much like Obama was disqualified. Oh, hi, I'm here with sexy liberal John Fugelsang wearing my Los Angeles sexy liberal shirt. Oh my God, we have an LA show coming up October 21st, but how else could you see it, John?
How else could you see it? I'm so glad you asked. For a limited time, you can see the show live via pay-per-view if you go to sexyliberal.com. All the laughs, you'll miss nothing.
I can stream it from all around the world?
All around the world, in your car, while you're driving. Watch it at home.
Sexyliberal.com, yeah.